Today we're talking about self-confidence. If you're new here, I'm Emma, a self-confidence and embodied life coach here to help you awake your inner selves and create your most beautiful life. Today I'm sharing with you my story and the process I went through to get from self-conscious to confident. Let's first talk about what self-confidence is. Confident people come in all forms. You may see someone out that looks exactly like you who just oozes confidence. The trick is that they don't really care what anyone else thinks. This isn't in a way that means that they don't care if they're doing something bad or if they're doing something that's going to hurt other people. They just know that they are living their dharma. They're living their soul's path, and therefore they don't care what other people think of them. I understand that sounds so simple, but I first have a question for you. If you were in a room full of people, would you be exactly the same person as you were if there was nobody in that room? Self-confidence is about choosing to be that person, whether the room's empty or is full of people. Before we get going on to the steps that I took, I'd recommend getting a journal out here because I'm going to ask you some questions that you might need to think about, and it's worth just writing them down, pausing the video, thinking about how each question makes you feel. We need a water stop. I also have my phone because your girl can't always remember everything. Checking my notes. Firstly, what are you willing to say in order to be liked? Are you willing to compromise your values just so that someone will like you? If yes, that's probably because society has taught us that opinions are bad, that you have to conform to everyday norms to be liked. We had to follow all the rules at school just to be deemed a good human. But sometimes following rules isn't the right answer. All of your opinions don't need to match with someone else's in order for you to be friends. All of your values don't need to match with another human's. They actually don't need to match with anybody's, as long as you are following your soul's path. But when they don't match, and a person just doesn't like you, don't hate them, just let them go. Let them go out of your life. You don't need them. Confidence isn't about external validation, it's about internal validation, how you feel inside your heart, how your soul feels. That's what confidence is. For a time, I'd spend a lot of time, especially on Instagram, not showing up because I didn't want my values to be questioned. I didn't want people to say that my values and opinions were wrong because I wasn't confident enough in them yet. I knew that I felt very strongly that that is the way that I wanted to live my life, but I was scared to put it out to other people, to tell other people, to show me as I really am. I think partly that is because when we're at school, we're one person and we're taught that people changing is bad. Like, people say to you, oh, you've changed. They never say, oh my god, you changed, you're incredible, like, look how amazing your life is, look at you living your soul's path. They're just like, she's changed. This also fell into my body image. I was scared of like that typical like high school reunion situation where you're one of the people that's a lot bigger, they were when they were at school. But the thing is, bodies change. I don't want to look like I did when I was at school. I'm actually not that unhappy with the way that my body looks right now. Yes, of course, there are things I'd like to change. And yes, of course, I'd love to feel fitter than I do right now. But I was scared to put that out into the world because other people will think that I've changed. I'm not unhappy with the way my body looks right now. But most of the time, I now spend focusing on the things about myself that I like. For me, internally, what I was worried about was how my body made other people feel. It wasn't even about my feelings, it was about how they felt when they looked at me. We've been taught that our body should look a certain way, shape, size, especially for my generation who grew up where the trend was to be like as skinny as possible. Now, I'm not saying that this still isn't a problem today. Like, there are awful things happening, like the A4 paper challenge and the mask challenge. Like, these things are just as bad, if not worse, as what we had it. At the same time, now there is this emergence of regular human bodies coming through, whereas when we were growing up, we had magazines circling in big red circles things that were wrong with people's bodies and sharing that with the world. I was always worried that I'd be one of those people that was having a circle put around them, not because I was unhappy with that part of my body, but because some other person with some other opinion deemed my body to not be acceptable. I'm also an empath, so I feel everything. So when I walk in a room, or I walk past someone, or I'm having a conversation with someone, I can feel if they are judging me and my body. I can feel their feelings towards me, which sometimes makes it pretty tough to accept that I am who I am. The result was to hide my body. I didn't want people to question me. I didn't want to feel people's questioning. I didn't want to have anything to do with any kind of questioning about my body. But confidence is about knowing who you are, that you are enough, no matter what anybody else's opinion is. I am enough for me. When you start to become confident in yourself, you understand that whatever will be, will be. Whatever the outcome is, it doesn't matter. The universe has got me. There's a reason I'm going through these steps. There's a reason I'm learning these lessons. There's a reason I've been through all of this in my life. Mine is to help you right now. I wouldn't be having this conversation with you and hopefully helping even just one person if I hadn't been through all the steps that I've been through. So rather than thinking of it as a situation where the universe is against you, think of it as a gift. My self-consciousness has been a gift, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to go through the process that I'm going through now, understanding my soul and understanding how I'm put on this earth to help other people. Okay, so now you've heard my story, let's talk about the steps. It's a 4-step process. It's very simple, at the same time is very, very hard. I'm not coming here saying that if you do these 4 steps you're going to be sorted overnight. Tomorrow you'll be walking out there naked. Like, that is not happening. For most people, it takes a while. The very first step before we start the process is to start being nice to yourself. Each day, spend a bit of time looking in the mirror. We all do this if we're brushing our teeth. Normally we're brushing it in front of a mirror, we're looking at our clothes before we're getting ready to go out, etc, etc. Rather than focusing on something about yourself that you don't like, I'm not a fan of my arms. They wiggle. But rather than thinking, oh, I don't like my arms, I'll think, okay, I don't love my arms. However, I like my face. I love my hair. Every time I see something that I don't like, I change it to gratitude into something that I do like. I also have this thing where I say, if I was to become skinny Emma, which is what I'd always wanted to be growing up. I'd always got this vision in my mind of like a skinny version of me doing whatever activity I was going to be doing. We'll talk about more of this in a second. If I was to become skinny Emma, maybe my face will change. You know, sometimes you've got to think a bit in another way rather than thinking I want to change this about myself because I hate myself. Well, maybe if I change that, this bit that I actually quite like is going to go too. Okay, so let's get those journals out again, because we're going to start by looking at your perceived obstacle. My perceived obstacle has been that I am overweight. Side view, front view. Think about the sentences. My life would be perfect if. I would feel self-confident if. Now that might be for you, my life would be perfect if I had the job I'd always dreamed of. My life would be perfect if I had a husband. I would feel self-confident if I lost 20 pounds. My life will still feel self-confident if my hair was longer. Lots of different things. For me, my sentence was I would be able to do these activities if I was smaller, because people will think that I am too big to belong in this outdoor activity space. Pause the video and take some time to write down some examples that come up for you. Now, you may have written like 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, I don't know how many things you've written, depends whereabouts on this scale you are. You might have only written one thing. Don't feel guilty, no matter how many you've written. It's your life, it's your journey. But for today, I need you to pick one thing to focus on. If you try and change all these things at once, you're gonna fail. You're going to fail. Like, there's no two ways about it. You're going to fail. And once you failed, you'll be back in that self-deprecating cycle of I can't do it, but the truth is you've tried to change the world when really you need to just take one little step at a time. Next, I want you to think about what life would be like if you removed this perceived obstacle. For me, the sentence was, fuck you, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get on that kayak, I'm going to get on that paddleboard, I'm going to go hiking, even if you do think I'm too big to be here. I don't care. I envisage myself trekking across the moors, across the southwest coast path, kayaking, sea swimming, paddleboarding, doing all those activities that I thought I was too big to do. The thing with your brain is that actually it can't tell the difference between given memories and actual memories. So if you keep envisioning yourself doing these things that you say that you can't do, if you're constantly thinking about them, if you spend a bit of time every day just visualizing yourself doing something, for me maybe it's kayaking, or for me maybe it's envisaging myself walking across the moors wearing the gear that I don't feel confident enough to wear, your brain starts to think it's normal even if you hadn't done it yet. Step 3 is the hardest. I'm not gonna lie to you here, this one is the hardest and it'll take time. You need to remove the perceived obstacle from your life. For me, the goal was always to be skinny. So instead of being skinny, I changed the goal to being strong enough to be able to do those things, to feeling healthy enough with the food I'm putting in my body to do those things. It no longer became I want to feel smaller for other people, it became I want to feel stronger for me. I want to feel better with the food I'm putting in my mouth for me. Not because I think that person over there is going to be worried about the way that I look. Also because those things are going to make me strong enough to be able to trek across the moors for 4 hours, which is like a life goal. So why wouldn't I want to do things that are going to make me achieve my goals? We'll talk about self-sabotage in a whole other video, let's not even go there today. Like I said, that step's going to take a long time. I didn't just click my fingers and the goal was not to be skinny anymore. I still have those feelings, I still have those thoughts, I still have those emotions when I look in the mirror sometimes, but it is what it is. You have to learn to live with those and accept that they're just thoughts coming into your brain. They can just leave as quickly as they arrive. However, what you can do is while you're going through that stage 3 process, it could take a year. It's still happening on my journey and I've been doing this for 6 or 7 months now. The trick is to live your life that way anyway. So I don't feel as strong as I could feel yet, but I go kayaking. I don't feel that I eat healthy every single day, but I still go walking. I don't feel that I am as comfortable with my body as I could be, but I still wore a bikini on holiday. Why? Because now I don't care. I'm choosing to live life my way anyway. For example, I was on a 4-hour hike in St Ives. I'll link the video down below or in the corner or wherever you want to get it. You can see it on the channel. During said 4-hour hike, I was wearing a waterproof coat. That waterproof coat was probably a size too small for me. It zipped up, but man, it was tight. Like, that coat did not want to be zipped, but it was zipped. So every time someone walked past me, I was like, oh god, they're looking at how tight my coat is. Oh god, they're thinking about how big I look in this coat. The thing is, the rest of the time, I was having the time of my life. So that 1%, or let's say 10% of the time, I was thinking my coat's too tight. The other 90% of the time, I was thinking, oh my god, look at me, I'm doing it. I'm trekking across a coast path. Look at the weather, look at the sea, look at this wildlife, look at nature, like, look at it. I wasn't thinking most of the time about my coat being too tight, which is how I would have felt before. And also, our brains are wired to think about the negative. So before you go, your brain's thinking, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. But you have to trick your brain into saying, that's going to be a problem this much of the time. The rest of the time, I'm having the time of my life. So while those moments of discomfort are probably never going to go, I'm here for them. I'm here to accept them. Life isn't just about living in this perfect little bubble. We all have to embrace those things that we're told that aren't good. We're given this view of life that has to be perfect all the time. That's not how you feel, that's not how I feel. We're not going to get this huge aha moment of, oh my god, I no longer feel like I'm too big to be in this space. Instead, I feel like, okay, maybe I don't quite fit in this space, but I'm going to choose to go into this space anyway. That's it for today. I've rambled on for ages. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. Share this video to someone who might be feeling a little bit self-conscious at the moment. I'm here to help. Like I said, it's my dharma. I have 2 spaces opening up on my one-to-one coaching, self-confidence, embodiment, understanding about your body and how you can live your soul's path. One of those spaces is pay what you can space. That's a no questions asked. You tell me how much you can pay for the 6 months and you pay it and you get pretty much exactly the same as you would have got anyway. The other space is a full paying space, and I'll see you on Instagram because let's be honest with ourselves, that's where we all hang out most of the time.